SoulCalibur VI.
Hey everybody, Sajin here. I know fighting games are all the rage lately, and I was recently inspired to go back to SoulCalibur 6 here and do something with its character creation. Um, and I know the last time I did one for Sajin in SoulCalibur 5, it was decently popular before my other popular stuff at least. So I thought I'd show off another character here. So we're going to go into creation. And then who we're doing this time, as you see, I have a few fun characters in here. They have King's whole customization, so I had to do that. I did make Sajin again, basically the same customization options as in 5, so no need to show that off again. I have a version of Pit that turned out pretty good. I guess I could do that in another video if there's interest, but who I want to do this time is, if you're familiar with the Redwall series, I made a really cool version of Slagar the Cruel. So I want to show him off a little bit here, kind of reverse engineer what I did a little bit. Alright, so as you can see here, oh gosh, the frames are rotating pretty nice. Okay. So the main thing, his outfit's kind of plain, but I just really like this pattern that I got on the wolf head, and I'm going to go over that. So the first thing with Slagar is that for the weapon that he uses in the Redwall series, there isn't really an equivalent in this game. He's got like the bolas, which depending on the interpretation or the version or adaptation that you're watching or reading, it may or may not have a handle along with it. So what I went with is I ended up going with maxis because of the nunchucks kind of replicating that a little bit, and there's kind of this like larger blunt edge to the bottom of it that I don't know, but it's kind of up to interpretation for which weapon style you want to go with. If you feel something suits it a little better. The whole idea behind this was kind of originally or just going by appearance and not so much the other stuff, because I knew it could okay, so that's who I was trying to go with. So okay, don't want to actually go in there, but I ended up going with Darksider because while most of it's covered up, let's see if I can get a good example here. Yeah, so the Darksider skin kind of has this texture to it, which I feel replicates fur pretty well. So if you look at like the little peaks of it there, that looks pretty good. And also it held the eyes and everything. If I can get a better look at him, maybe on another screen, but the eyes and everything and how the face ends up looking kind of replicates his deformity there. So I thought it worked that way as well. I didn't end up giving him pants because this is largely going off of the animated series representation of him. If you're used to that, it's just the easiest one to use for reference, because otherwise it'd be using a book, which doesn't really work that way. But in that version, he doesn't really have any pants, so other than the null right there, you can kind of see that texture that I'm talking about and how it's replicating that. I did also, I believe I put some feathers there to replicate the tail, and you can see it looks a little better from the outside there as well. Like, see, that almost looks like a tail. And then I think I just put some socks over his legs, because he's got like the, you know how foxes are, they've got that darker pattern toward the legs and the feet, so to replicate that a little bit. And then, so let's go into the equipment. So obviously we have the wolf mask. How did That would be in color settings, so we'll come back to that. So this is just a rundown of all the gear that I used for this, and I do have some customization DLC for this game. Like, I believe the wolf mask is DLC in this one, so in case you don't have all the items, you may need some additional purchases in order to do everything here. But I do have the wolf mask, obviously, with some colors changed and stuff on it. I'll go over that in a bit. Then we've got the cloth surcoat. As you can see there, it's the torso covering, and it's got a little bit of sleeves there, and it's got the part that drapes down, which was a big thing. It's a little bit longer than what he wore in the series, but it is pretty close, especially with this pattern, as there's a pattern put over that as well. And then I've got the mourning robes, which is this cloak that he's got on, and I liked this pattern that was on it, because he's got that cloak with stars on it for the Stellar Lunaris, Lunar Stellaris stuff, so I kind of replicated that a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's something. I was able to add like the outline on it, which is pretty nice, and it affects the pattern on the back as well. So we've got the wide opening gloves, because he does have some gauntlets and everything, so I think they're a little long as well, but they serve their purpose pretty well. Tried to match the coloring as well as I could. And yeah, as I mentioned before, there are knee socks here. And then the angel feathers as an accessory. Well, in this pose, it's kind of cutting through the cloak there, but you can see it kind of mimics a foxtail on the outside. The color may not be perfect, but it's close enough. Okay, so that's all for equipment. So going to colors here. So yeah, we've got here, let's see. If you want to use these colors for a reference here, this is for the skin as the, what is it, the Darksider race that we picked. It's kind of it's more of a brown, but there isn't really... Yeah, it's like a brownish orange is what you want to go for, again, to replicate that fox fur. Is this the... Yes, the eye color. If I go to this... Okay, it's not going to show, but I did... I'm not sure if red eyes were the default and I kept that, or I switched it to that, but just take my word for it that the Darksider just best emulates the his deformity and how his face looks and stuff, in terms of races you can pick anyway. So in the off chance, because there is armor breaking in these games, in the off chance the wolf mask breaks, kind of a fun little Easter egg would be like, do the whole "and your father did this to me" at the end. So that's all. We don't want that. Okay. So for the wolf mask itself, let's see. Yeah, so we have this pattern that we could choose. And there's this basic 10, which is kind of a plaid type pattern, and I feel it best emulates the alternating like purple and red diamonds that he had like on his mask. It's not perfect, could do without the white lines, and you might even be able to change that color. But I kind of like how it ended up looking. It's pretty perfect. The only thing I would maybe change is if we could remove the pattern from like the bottom of his mouth, to make it seem like more like it's wearing a mask and not just the texture for like the entire head. But it's pretty darn close, all things considered. And then I did make the eyes green. I believe he has green eyes in the series. I looked that up. And then didn't change the colors for the mouth because there wasn't much of a need to. And then for this cloak, because he does have some lines on it in the series, I did go with this basic 3, just this line pattern to help emulate that a little bit. Once again, not perfect, but pretty close considering the options you have. And then just tried to get... okay, well, inside color doesn't matter that much. And then just tried to get these colors to match as closely as you can. If you want this blue for reference, it's a saturation 5.9 and then 22.36.5. It is just basically like a light sky blue almost. Very pale blue in places, just to replicate that. But pick whatever you feel is close or what looks good. And then the cloaks and the gloves are a little more purple, if I remember correctly. The gloves may be a little more of a dark blue in the series, depending on things. It's been a little bit since I looked at the reference pictures in the series and stuff, but I vaguely recall that being the case. But I think the purple looks good. A slightly darker purple for the cloak. Why are there two? What is this? It's like a portion of the inside of the cloak. That's interesting. But the main color here is a saturation 2.9 149.2 that I went with, and that gives you this kind of deep but not too deep purple that we've got going on here on the cloak. And then just a white color so the pattern shows up. I think it's a little off-white. Oh, okay. It's white. Alright. And then for the gloves, I think I had to do slightly different because they're different materials around the hand and for the arm. So for the hand, we're looking at a saturation 2.9 347.2. And then for the arm here, we're looking at a saturation 3.9 347.3. It does look like the arm is a little bit brighter. It's a little bit tough to test lighting and things in the creation, and it might not look that ideal on some stages, and it's probably possible to get a closer color scheme, but I don't believe just picking the same color is going to work this time, because I believe the material is slightly different, or just gives that different appearance. And then you just want like a straight brown color for the socks to emulate the foot pads. And you could do something crazy if you wanted to, like there's horse legs in this game, if you want that whole digitigrade foot stance like they have in the series, but I don't know. I tried that for some other characters and didn't like the look of it as much. I just feel like this works just fine, but if you want to go that extra mile, you certainly can. I went, for the brown color here, I went with a saturation 49074. So about the darkest in the orange range that we can go, to just get like an orangish brown, but it's a lot more brown than the skin fur color that we've got going on here. And then for the accessory, which would be the feathers here, probably not the best color. The main color I have here is the saturation 4.9, that's 584. And then I believe it's like a set of 3 feathers, which is why you see some there. And so I had to kind of position and tuck it under a little bit to get it to look properly, and it's not going to look perfect all the time, and it's kind of clipping into the cloak, but you do what you have to do because they don't have the right tail options. I believe they have like a cat tail and maybe like a devil tail, but they're not perfect. And the other colors would be changing the inner ones, which you don't really want to show up anyway, so the big one is that first one. And then let's see if there's anything else. I didn't really mess with any of that. If we want to go with body, I'm not sure I'm not sure I messed with all this too much. Just went with slightly tall, average build. This is... okay, everything is -12. I'm not sure if it's preset or I put everything there. And then... okay, no, he doesn't have hair. For the voice, I went with Wizened Warlord, and I think I tried to get it to sound closest like Tim Curry I could, but... let's see.
Weaklings must taste death. Weaklings must taste death. Weaklings must taste death. Weaklings must taste death.
Yeah, there's just a bit of rasp or grit in that voice, and so that's kind of why I picked it, to emulate the Tim Curry as best as we could. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I can go in a mock battle real quick to show you what he looks like. I am not a maxi player, so We'll see how it goes. Okay. But yeah, just, I don't know, the motion of the nunchucks just kind of mimics what he would do with the bolas a little bit, if I'm getting that term right. Bit of a back throw. Alright, so yeah. Might as well do this. Is it really just the one? That's interesting. Okay. Alright, but yeah. But yeah, that is Slagar the Cruel. And again, the weapon types don't exactly match him. I just felt like Maxi style with the nunchucks was the best choice, but it's up to you if you feel something else is a little more appropriate for him, or if they want to switch to a different moveset just because you actually use that moveset, unlike me and Maxi. But I thought maybe someone would get a kick out of that. I just really like how the head with the wolf mask came out. And in general, I think it looks pretty decent. It's a little more of an obscure choice for a character, I feel like, but I hope people enjoy it. And I can maybe show Pit another time if people are interested in that one. I think he came out pretty good, especially with the different race choices and things that you have in this game that helped with that a little bit. But yeah, fighting games are all the rage right now, with Tekken 8 just coming out and the other two that came out last year, and hopefully SoulCalibur gets another entry pretty soon, although 6 is pretty good. I'm good sticking with 6 for a while longer if we need to. But go ahead and let me know if this kind of content is up your alley, and if you want to see more. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.